we're going to move on to our next section, and I'm going to hand over to the man who is pushing all the buttons on our system today and making sure that everything's working and running smoothly. PJ Connolly is our lead training specialist here at Communicare, and he has been with the organisation for a very long time. It's evident because I probably give him more grey hairs than he needs, but we're going to hand over and see all the great things that are happening in Communicare training. And so, PJ, I hand over to you, buddy.
You make me sound very old. I'm only 49 and I've only been with Communicare for 8 years. So I've got to double that to catch up to Steve and then some. But talking about grey hairs, I'll just note, Sean, I don't know how a man becomes more handsome as he gets older. Might have been because he cleaned himself up for the show today, but great job, mate. That was a really good presentation. So I'm going to be talking about training today. No worries, Sean. I have been, working in and managing the training team, for 8 years as we building. And I will just start, and this is to get you guys going again. I'll just see if yes, we have another Menti question. So just want to ask you guys, what do you think is the most effective method of training? So just to get started, we'll I can hide that. That's interesting. I think this was a no-brainer. I think it was. Connolly behind me is laughing. I think the votes are coming in, and I agree. I think we would definitely prefer to be in front of people. I know Erin and Joe can speak for that as well, but anytime that you've got an engagement, it's obviously best to be in front of the other party. Thanks, guys, for all those votes. Yep, I agree with the virtual as well. Because we obviously have been doing a lot of virtual training. So I'll jump back into the presentation and we will continue on. So who are we? So I am PJ, also known as the Irishman Paul Connolly. You'll see Paul on my emails, but I prefer PJ because I like to wear my pajamas and that's my nickname. So I've been with Communicare for 8 years. I'm a trainer and educator by trade. And the thing that really attracted me to coming to Communicare was the fact that it was training, it was travel, and it was training. And that's pretty much, what I've been doing over the time that I've been here, and I really enjoy it. And I enjoy that we've got really good relationships with our customers as well. So Erin is also part of the team. She admits this is not her best photograph, but she keeps saying she's going to give me a new one that I can utilize. But Erin's been with us for 4 or 5 years, and her background's as a school teacher as well, and a roller derby enthusiast, and all the other things that she does. And she always keeps us well fed with food and things. But so Erin and I have been the 2-man-woman team, and then along came Joe. So about 6 to 9 months ago, we grabbed Joe DeVries from Witch Opera, who was one of our customers. We knew what Joe could do and snaffled her. And she's based in Cairns. So the great thing about Joe being in Cairns is that we can cover the East Coast, particularly at the moment, well, because we've got so many lockdowns happening at the moment, things like that. But historically, we've been able to send Joe up and down the coast, and she was very heavily involved with the Far North Queensland project. Joe's a proud TI woman, and we love having her as part of the team because she's happy, bubbly, and is really good at what she does, and has a real customer. I think Joe was 15 years or so out at Witch Opera, and she's got a huge, vast knowledge of what people do with Communicare out in the wild, as in your clinics. So what do we do? And I'm going to be kind of looking between 2 screens. I'll try and look over at you guys every now and then. But what used to be majority face-to-face, Erin and I used to be on the road anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks a month, all year. We'd get a bit of respite December, January, but pretty much, Jan, Feb, we'd be back on the road. So we got really used to that and got really comfortable with that. But then along came that thing that's happened. And it really increased our need for virtual training. And I must admit, at first I went kicking and screaming because I was so happy to be out on the road, traveling, seeing people face to face, which you guys all love as well. And what has happened, so last March I was in Ceduna and COVID hit, and I got back to Perth, and we kind of commenced the non-travel regime. So that's been March to nearly coming up to 18 months. So we've now moved to a more blended approach of training. So we can't come and see you on a whim. So we're using, more different approaches, which I'll give you some detail on in the next slide. Oh, and yeah, what we've done is we've built a brand new LMS, which has been in place since March, and March was really the trial, and then yeah, now we're getting more and more people using it. So we're going to go through and give you a demo of the learning management system as well. But pretty much all of our training, apart from our telephone training, which is very different to everything else we do that Joe manages, yeah, we manage everything through the LMS. So blended training, what does that mean? So this is a look at our super user course, and I see lots of familiar names in the crowd today. And most of you have been through the super user course at some stage or another. Oh, and Aaron, thank you for getting the questions. Thank you. Yeah, awesome. So in the super user course, we have really changed it. So we've put the super user course on steroids 2021, and we rewrote the whole course, keeping everything that's in the course, but adding a lot more activity and putting an activity focus on it. So in the training, and this is a look at what units people get when they sign up for the course. We actually put them into an e-learning course, which takes them through everything, and we have the face-to-face embedded in that. So pre-training requirements, there's quite a few pre-training requirements there, and you'll see that there is super user pre-training information. So what we used to email or send you in the mail or fax you, we now put into the first unit, which is your pre-training information. So what do I need to do? What do I need to learn? What tech do I need? Because it's going to possibly be a remote session. So we put all that into an e-learning course. When you complete that, we see a little tick, and it then opens up the rest of the units. So you must do the pre-training information, because we've had, yeah, with kicking up into remote learning and virtual learning, the technology is always the catching point. So once you've done the pre-training information, then we have just some pre-learning that we want people to do before we kick into the actual training days. So on the training days, we not only have the actual, June, that was the June super user where you do the course. So that's instructor-led training where we do that online. But during the training, we do online activities. And at the end of each day, we now do these wonderful end of day reviews, which are e-learning courses, or there's an e-learning course which says day one, do all this at the end of the day. And we pause and stop and say, hey, for the last half hour to hour, you guys are going to go and start working on those activities. I'm going to stay here and be quiet, which doesn't happen very often during training, which was great for me and Erin and Joe. And you do the activities, and then we're still there so that we can support people through that self-led learning at the end of the day, and doing a lot of refreshers on things they've done during the day. One of the biggest complaints that we got about not only super user, but all of our courses was there was so much that I couldn't remember it all and I didn't get it all. So what we're trying to do now with this blended approach of learning is give people different ways to learn it. We do a bit of chalk and talk, we do a bit of practice, and then we do a bit of individual practice afterwards, and we support people through that. And then you've got the actual e-learning activities, which are clickables that take you through that. So we've got the during training, and then we don't leave you. So at the end of training, we used to just send you on your way. And Deb Gent would remember at O'Connor, I vividly remember that training about 7 years ago. And we just sent you on your way. Whereas now we have an online course evaluation, which is always nice for us. That's how we get the feedback. But we have a full refresher course online, videos, clickables, and questions that refresh your knowledge and say, oh yeah, I did get that. And then there's always options in there because everyone's got my email, everyone's got Erin's email and phone numbers and things like that, and people can contact us. So a course that used to be, oh, we'll, come to us and we'll sit you down at Perth and we'll bang you around for 3 days and then we'll send you on your way. It's a very different course now. And I'd recommend if people are thinking, oh, I should go back and get a refresher, you'll be quite interested by what we've got in the course now. So, what are we doing right now? You know, what's happening with training? Where have we gone and how far have we gone? We still offer site visits, but we must do that safely. And I'll give you an example. So I know everyone doesn't love our Premier, but he's quite happy to lock down the border if he feels it's unsafe for people to come or go. And now we could only really travel to the Territory and possibly Tasmania. And week to week, that seems to be changing. In April, I went to Dubbo and Sydney and safely got in and out, but I definitely would not be able to do that at the moment. So, you know, we'd still love to get face to face with people, yeah, but not possible all the time. We still run telephone training, and Jo is our telephone training expert. So she takes all the telephone training, she takes all the bookings, books it all up and runs the sessions. And those telephone training sessions are like that 2-hour session that gets people on their bike, and she'll be able to share her screen with them, or they share their screen with Jo, talks to them. She's got a really good calm demeanor and runs them through the training and learning those basics of Communicare. So the telephone trainings are quite a good starting point for new people. I'll just grab a drink. What we do now is we offer lots of e-learning. We've been madly building e-learning courses because I couldn't travel, and I was, well, I wouldn't say getting bored, but I needed something to do. Yeah, we just built all these e-learning courses. So we've got heaps of e-learning courses, which we're going to look at when we get into the LMS. So we've now got self-driven learning. And for people who saw our old e-learning, please, I know it's hard to ignore this. It's much, much better than what it was before. We've got much better content creation tools. We're personally better at it ourselves. And it's not just training videos. There's a whole heap of clickables and things in the e-learning. We also now facilitate lots of virtual training. So all of our courses are virtual. And I think I have a point here that Train the Trainer is one of our newish capabilities, and that's about the only one that we can't do remote. It's really difficult to, train people in the intricacies of training other people remote. Yeah, so all of our courses, bar Train the Trainer, have been virtualized. So we'll go through and show you some of that as well. And as I say, it's not to say that we don't want to see you guys. So this is a really great photo that I got with Walter, who was out at AWAS about 4 years ago when I went out there. And one of the things that I really enjoy is going out and seeing Australia and getting around, and also sitting with people who use Communicare, as we'd say, in anger, and not only training you and trying to improve your skills in Communicare, but you telling us how you use Communicare, because that's where we really get our benefit from. And because someone comes and says, I do it this way, and I'm like, why would you do it that way? And I don't ask questions nastily. It's more like, yeah, I'm interested. Why do you do it that way? So I will move into Erin. At this stage, is there any questions worth answering or anything that's urgent?
We only had one question come through from Monique around, can we provide access, provides the site super user access to the e-learning free? So we know we are recommending, and if it's useful for our users, and I just advise that, we can look at multiple options to help a team evaluate what courses and what content is going to be best for them. So we'll be in touch with you, Monique, and we'll have a look at a few bits and pieces.
Yep, and Monique knows we're pretty flexible because we do head up to Roban every October, November. It's the warmest time of my year. So I'm going to transfer myself across to my screen so we can have a look at the LMS. Awesome. No worries, Monique. Yeah, how do I get out of there? There's that one. So everyone should be able to see my screen. I'll just take that back to full screen so we're not messing around. Erin, if you can just chuck a link to the Communicare user portal in the chat, then I think people may have got it from before, and I think most people have now signed up for an account. But I usually start from the user portal because we have our training section here. So we've got a training menu, and when we go into the training menu, this is most probably the easiest way to get into the learning portal. But when we get in there, I'll also get Erin to pop a link in for that as well, but let's just do one thing at a time. So up at the top there, yes, beautiful picture of me with messy hair and beard, and Clinton Franklin from AmSant, who I think is still on holidays, but he does know that that photograph's there. So that was on a bridge at Tennant Creek, actually, and we had a great trip up. That time he drove me up from Alice Springs from memory. So that's a good start, or it'll put people off because of my photograph. So we've got the learning portal, we can go straight in there and we can go and have a look at our courses, and then you've got some information here on the training team. But realistically, all of the training information is over on the training site. And this is where I suppose I've got to remember, because I wrote myself a few notes about, we've had quite a bit of feedback / criticism about there being a separate login for the learning portal or the LMS or the training website, whatever we call it. I'll generally reference it as the LMS. Because we put so much work into getting this user portal going, and behind the scenes at a similar time we were working on the LMS as well, and the LMS took a year to develop and get ready and things. We haven't implemented single sign-on yet, but I can 99% guarantee people that single sign-on is available, because this is a WordPress site and we'll be able to single sign-on over to the LMS. Yeah, because I've had quite a bit of pretty brutal feedback about that lately, and I think it's fair and good feedback. So we are implementing single sign-on. That was always the intention, but we had to get the Communicare user portal up first. So without further ado, as they say, I'll jump into our learning portal or the LMS, and it comes in and it says ready to roll. Yep, here's what you see when you get to the front screen. So what we've tried to do is to give people information about, links and things that they can go to within this site to get to areas. And we've got a beautiful picture of Erin teaching what else but Communicare. Yeah, so this is the main page when you get in. We then have the version 21.1 update. So there's a few actual courses there that you can go to about medications. We can see there, or we can go to version 21.1 because there was a few clinical items that were updated. So I say I'd like to look at the medications. We're going to upgrade, and it would be a bit silly to upgrade without doing a bit of reading. So it gives us detail about the course. It gives us an overview of the course, which is on YouTube, and then it gives us some extra content. So we've got some how-to guides and that at the end of that as well. If you decide that you want to grab a course, it is as simple as get this course, and then it's asking me to log in or sign up. Yeah, so you must log in or sign up to get a course. And as I'm going to slowly and repetitively say, we are looking in the short term to implement single sign-on, so that this will match up to your user portal login, because people have got so many logins. So I'm just going to jump back to the main screen. I won't jump into that course yet, and just show you on the front screen some of the things that we've got. So we've got a new clinical item building workshop. This is Erin's baby. So she's been talking about this for years. She finally built it. You make it and they will come. And it's all about building clinical items, building them solidly, looking at the endpoint and back to, why do we make them, how we make them. And this course is actually coming up really soon, August 4 and 5, and you can actually click on the form there to register your interest. Erin, might be a good idea to pop the link to the LMS in the chat now, so that people can, thanks, awesome. I was going to say thanks, love, but then it makes me sound older than what I am. Jeez, Erin. Which brings out the worst in me. Report writing course. So last year we had heaps of interest. We had to run 2 report writing courses over September and October. And this year the report writing course can be a bit more difficult virtually, but Steve White really enjoyed it. It was his first experience with virtual training last year, and he really enjoyed it. We split the report writing up into 6 half-day / 3-hour sessions, and we split it up over Tuesday, Thursdays over 3 weeks. Yeah, so you do 6 sessions, 2 sessions a week. So you can also complete that form to register interest, or request a quote on that report writing course as well. That's coming up in August as well. Super user, so we usually now, because we can do them remotely, we run super user each month. So you'll see that there's information about the super user courses there. And then our newie, we've got the tips and tricks videos. And I have had some feedback on this as well, which is always welcomed, thank you. When we came from the old portal, which, let's not talk about the old portal, and we've come to the new portal, we tried to strip it back. And we always appreciate customer feedback and people saying, couldn't find anything on there. So what we try to do is strip it back, make it easier to find stuff, and just remove some things from there where we could, bring them back or put them in other places. At the moment, the what used to be the tip of the week videos has become a tips and tricks course, and there's just a whole heap of videos in there about the short tips and tricks videos. So we moved that into a course. What we're looking at doing is also putting that as a menu item up at the top here as well, so that people can just access it quite quickly. And then we've got some e-learning courses in Highlight. But what I'll do is I'll log in and show you what a user sees when they log in, and make sure that, I've got to make sure that we talk about price. That's always the good bit, isn't it? So I don't want to be a super, and I want to be a learner. So we've actually got 3 separate portals that or dashboards that we can go into. We've got an admin one, and an instructor one, and a learner one. And one of the things that Erin wanted me to talk about was how our customers can use the admin portal to keep an eye on their own learners and things like that. So it's a fully functioning LMS, and it's really great. So I've got my dashboard up here, and you can see I've got a few courses that I look like I haven't started yet. I'm being a bit slack, but I have completed my staff induction, and I have completed the quick start. And I did work with AHMRC on their 2-day workshop. So there's all courses there. So I've got quite a few courses. Usually people would get in and they wouldn't see any courses. And what they would have to do is go to the course catalog and find out what's happening over in Courseland. So in the course catalog, we have all the pricings there. So you'll see right at the top is Erin's clinical item building and maintenance, and it's got the dates and everything in there and how much it's going to cost. Report writing courses, a clinical item introduction to Communicare. So what I'm going to do, just to break those down so you can see what we've actually got, is the beginner courses, and Communicare Quick Start should be at the top, are the beginner courses that are for people that are new to Communicare. There's 2 real different beginner courses. You can see one's $99 and the other 3 are $120. And that's for 30 days access for a user. You log in and get your own access. So for Quick Start, and I'll just jump in and show you, I'll go down to content. Yes, there's again a video telling you what you're going to learn in 46 seconds. But it's there's all these units that people will go through when they do the quick start. So they'll have an intro, look at the toolbar, help, place and mode, clinical record and clinical items, because that's what you need to get people on their bike. So the quick start is $99, takes 40 minutes, and it will get people on their bikes. But sometimes you might need a bit more than just getting into it and looking at more detail. So we've got clinical item introductions. So introduction to Communicare for clinical, we've got a medical reception one, and we've got a social services one, just for some of the specifics that are different through those 3 groups that we see. And remember, we're working with all of Australia. So what Gundia does and what Bega does and what other services will do will be different. And we're always happy to take feedback on what we should be doing and building. But if you just have a look at the clinical introduction to Communicare, so this one is a lot longer. So it goes for 3 hours. So we can see there that it goes for 3 hours, and it's got all of these units within that course. So lots more on help, lots more on entering and finding data, how to claim Medicare, use the My Health Record, intramail SMS, and some basics on reporting and service recording things. So it's a lot more wholesome course, a lot longer, and there's a lot more clickables that comes through that course. And we've got an intro for that one. So just while we're here, I'll have a quick look at what you see in parts of this course. So I'm just going to jump in and just resume the course. It opens up in a new pop-up. So this is now what the user sees. And I'll just resume the course and see where I'm up to.
Prior to entering data into Communicare,
I'm just going to go.
Feature of the software is
say to just choose
another nice feature available from the toolbar is the printer assignments. Click on the file menu now and select the printer assignments option.
So it's telling us click on the file menu and we go to printer assignments.
The first thing you're about to do is assign a default printer, which may not necessarily be your Windows default. Click on the assigned printer dropdown to see some available options for setting your default Communicare printer.
So throughout the training, there's all of these clickables that people can use.
You will see here that there is an option to show printer dialog, which will bring up the print options rather than the job going straight to the printer, as well as giving you the option to choose the paper source or tray. Note that these settings can be set for each module or type of printout.
So we just slowly take people through, and then they continue and they go on to
Communicare
getting help.
toolbar is also the access point to the online.
So I'm going to just stop it there so that you guys don't get bored of listening to me and talking about that. So I'll jump back out, but with the new e-learning, all of the courses are clickables and it's very, very interactive. And there's even some of the courses, we put people's names in there. So we'll reference you by your name throughout the course and things like that. So it's really interactive. It's quite fun. And yeah, it'll be, I think, a great way for people to engage with their learning. So back into the course catalog. We've also then got, what did we put in intermediate? Yeah, then we've got the in-depth. So for e-learning, this one's at $199, and this course is actually a lot more detailed. It pretty much has all of the units that you could do for the front end. Yeah, so you can see there in the unit list, there's a whole heap of units that you can do. What is the time frame? Well, it says this one takes 2 hours, 20 minutes, but I guess it would take more, but there are a few more videos and some of the intro ones that take a bit longer. Yeah, so we've got a whole heap of very, very detailed units on everything within Communicare. That's the one that you most probably want to do if you want to prepare yourself to come to the super user course. Yeah, so, and again, we've got a 40-second intro video that takes you through what's in that one. So that's the intermediate. And then if we go for advanced, I think we'll find, yeah, so report writing courses and clinical item building. We're saying that they're advanced courses, and then we've obviously got the super user. And we've also got the up courses for the updates. And note that these courses, the ones for the updates, and I think the tips and tricks course, they don't have any charge. So when you go into this course, you'll find that you'll be able to grab it because there's no charge at all aligned with that course. So just remember that. You might get a question about that later on, says the trainer. Just check. How am I traveling for time, Erin? Have I got?
Probably getting close. We're getting a couple of really good questions coming through too.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just show you a couple little more bits of the LMS, show you some of the reporting, which will be of interest to people who might want to use this to manage their compliance training. And then, yeah, we'll take some questions. So that sounds good. So once you come into the LMS, you have once you've logged in, you've got your course catalog, you've got your progress as well. So each learner will be able to go and have a look at their dashboard. So, only completed 11.8%, naughty PJ. But in your courses, it'll say, oh yeah, well, I did my compliance, my staff introduction, and then where am I? And if I have a look at a specific course, then you can actually go in and find out which units you've done. It also has your certificates. So I did the staff induction to Communicare, and I did the quick start, and I did the clinical introduction. I can go and download my certificate, or, which I really like, I can share it with LinkedIn. So I can say, oh, I've done this, and then that'll be on my LinkedIn profile because we're the software vendor, we certify this training. And then you've got a timeline as well of, when you've logged in, logged out, and what you've actually exactly done, but that'll be of less interest to you guys. Yeah, so there's a nice little dashboard. And the good thing is that instructors can see these for learners as well. So that's really nice. So I'll just jump back to my dashboard and I just click on the Communicare icon, our new whiz-bang icon. Joining groups. So say that CTAC or someone purchased a whole heap of training, then they'll have a group code and they'll be able to join that group and then get that batch of training that those people get. Discussion groups, so no different to anything on the internet. And then calendar. This is our training calendar. So July, we try not to train too much because everyone's busy doing reporting and stuff. But yeah, then when you have a look at August, we've got, the clinical item building, report writing course starts, got a super user course, and then moving through each month, we actually put our training calendar up here. So just by simply going back into your dashboard, from your dashboard, you'll be able to go to our training calendar. And that's where we'll be pretty much keeping up to date of what courses we've got coming up. And then you guys know how to contact the training team because, yeah, Erin, Joe, and I are getting messages all the time from everyone. Yeah, so she's going to rerun her clinical item building course. So there's our training calendar as well. And you also, which doesn't show up across the toolbar, is you'll also be able to go back to the homepage. People have been asking about how-to guides. That's where they are now. The training calendar you can go to, a bit about remote learning, a bit more detail about our courses, meet the training team, and then you can have your training evaluations from there. So I could go back to the homepage and say, oh yeah, that's where I saw that information about, oh, the clinical item building workshop, and I want to register my interest. Yeah, so you can do that. But you can also, what I want to show you guys is the training courses. We've got a lot more detail about our training courses. So the clinical item building workshop has the detail, and you can, just click and it will take you to a form, to register my interest. Oh, it's nice and blue too. How do I get rid of, now I've got to go back to where I was. Oh, thank God for keyboard shortcuts. And there's lots of keyboard shortcuts in Communicare too, for those who have not looked it up in the help. Train the trainer workshop. So we're trying to get that one going. Keep moving, are you saying? Yeah, train the trainer workshop. That one's, we've built and tested it with Purple House, and now we want to get out into the world, but it's hard not face to face, and etc. etc. So we've got detail, and we've also got, that was meant to be continuous, telephone training and customized training. So we've got all of that information in there. Now, I promised that I would show the reports as well. So I'm just going to jump in as, let's say, an instructor. And I'm interested at what's happening with my staff induction. So I'm going to jump into the staff induction. So as you can see, I can move around quite easily. And we haven't been using this for a long, long time. So I can check my users and progress. And I can see in there, and sorry that names are here, but it's always nice to name and shame. So PJ's completed it, Martin's completed it, Cam's done, Natasha's done, and then there's a couple that haven't started, or it'll show you percentages of how far along they are. If they're a percentage along, then you'll see the units and you'll see what units they've completed and things like that. So that's really nice. Yeah, it's really, really good. I can quickly enroll users from here. But what I might want to do is run some reports specifically on this course. So if I go into the reports, and this is where I think the LMS really comes into its own, much like Communicare, and hopefully the reports are easier in here than what they are in Communicare. But we can see 5 learners, 3 have completed and 2 haven't started. So I can bang up those 2 that haven't started. And again, we can go into the users, see a bit more detail on them in that report. How much time did they spend in the course? And are they cheating and things like that? Or are they, just clicking through and not paying attention? And then we've got a timeline of all the people who have jumped in, jumped out, and done things in the course. But realistically, all of this reporting and more, because there are a lot more reports, are available. And I'm wrapping up. Okay, Erin, what have we got in questions?
So we've got a couple of questions. Tim Prim wants to know, are there any whole of organisation options courses rather than one for each person?
That's where we get into the flexibility and our ability to say, what do you guys want? Do a training needs analysis and then come back to you with an organisation approach. Some organisations, quite a few now, have us out at their site each year, and we just do a staff refresher, go through the updates, and give you what you guys want basically. But we know what you need at the same time. So hopefully that. But if it's more not off the shelf, then we need to talk about that.
I think maybe also looking at, similar to how the AHMRC put some access in, and we can build channels for specific groups and those sorts of things. Is that right?
So in the LMS, if that's what you're looking at, we can build you your own branch. So we've got, at the moment, we've got like 4 branches on the LMS. One's for AHMRC specifically, and one's for Communicare staff specifically, and one's for Communicare users. So it's not to say that we can't build something for anyone.
Fantastic. The team out at Graham's have got a question, and they want to know, when you purchase a whole heap of training, how long is it valid for? So it depends on what a whole heap is, I guess. But
that's a good question. And with the purchasing training for e-learning on the LMS, it really doesn't expire, because what you do is you purchase 1 credit for each $1, So if you purchase $99 worth and then you get 99 credits, and you basically would be able to use that for a Communicare quick start. But yeah, as far as we're concerned, we don't see that expiring, and we will warn you, if you haven't used it for a while. And there's all these automated warnings as well.
Fantastic. We've got a couple of more questions coming through, PJ. But I think one thing that we would like to sort of just elaborate on with the branches is talking about the relationship that we have with the AH and MRC in relation to how that branch came about. So can you elaborate on that just a little bit, please?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a really interesting one because AHMRC had some of our e-learning courses directly embedded within their own LMS, and we didn't love that, let's say, for lack of a better word. So we said we're building our own LMS, and we'd love you guys to just form a branch on our LMS, and that can link out of your LMS, which has happened. And for a fee, we actually built in all of the courses and the look and feel of their branch, which we can have a different look and feel for each separate branch. You've just seen the Communicare branch, and we built that out for them, and we now have an ongoing agreement with them. So that's been working really well.
Great stuff, thank you. So Ross James has got a couple of questions. Can we subscribe to the training calendar via a public share link? And can you schedule a CSV users and progress report out of the LMS?
I love Ross's questions. Will I just say, I might have to take the second one on notice, because but it does do scheduling reports and it does do CSVs. So we should be okay, but we'll take that one offline. But subscribing to the training calendar, I don't know because it's built inside, but I'll come back to you on that one as well.
We'll add those to our list of questions for the event team. Ross is persistent with his questions because he's got another one. Ross, you're going to get the imaginary Freddo for the amount of questions today. It's great. Is the LMS a third-party platform or developed, hosted in-house by Telstra Health?
Yeah, Ross always asks good questions, and I've always liked that about him. So it is, we use Talent LMS, so they're the vendor, and then we develop it all ourselves. So you know how long it takes to develop e-learning materials, particularly when they're so interactive. It does take a long time, but we develop it all in-house. But we do use the platform Talent LMS, which is a third-party vendor.
Fantastic. And we have very much, they were selected also because of the level of security that they offered and the interoperability that we needed to get across the line on that one. So that was really, really good. Thank you very, very much. Let's have...
Mark's been investigating Talent LMS.
Yep. We looked at a number of different LMSs across the board, didn't we, PJ, and really took the time to evaluate which ones were going to be the right ones for us and our needs. So that was a really good way of doing it.
And we'd made past mistakes. We'd used 2 LMSs previously, which we tried to do on the cheap, and we'd made mistakes. And that's the best thing. You learn from your mistakes, and then you come out with a really good result.
Brilliant. All right. Well, thank you very much, PJ. If there's no other questions coming through from the team and from the audience, what we're going to do is, PJ's got another Menti. Get on it. What training options do Communicare offer? If you can't figure that one out, you've not been paying attention, and you might get detention from the teachers in the room. Look out.
No, we're not allowed to keep people back anymore. I always threaten it, but we're not allowed to.
I still have my big rainbow stick for anyone who misses that when it comes to forward-facing classrooms.
But while people are answering, it's just important to know it has been a really difficult time on everyone. And one of the first things that always goes is training. And I'm a career trainer, Erin is as well, and we love training. That's why we're actually here. And we really want to help your organisations and take pressure off the support team by, seeing what you guys need and building that into our capability as well. Because everyone does it different. And I know Lynn in history has given me quite a bit of feedback as well, which has always really helped us to straighten us up. And it looks like people are hesitating to answer this one. Yeah, and the go is that we do most of them. A lot of our customers offer weight training. I have a bit of a soft spot for exercise physio, being an ex-phys editor. All right, Erin, I think we are good then. I'll see what we move into. Yeah.